as artillery. However, as things progressed, these moved farther and farther up to be used as direct fire instead of indirect fire. The guys who went to machine gun school who learned how to use these was a part of the artillery. So you would get trained on coordinates and elevation and windage. There's a lot of math involved with where to aim the gun, where you want the bullets to land, kind of thing. But later on, it sort of got a lot simpler than that. Move these farther up. Yes, they became a target, but it did have a lot of effectiveness. And then the rest of them are varying boxes of ammo and cans of water back and forth. Because when you're shooting, a 250 round belt doesn't last all that long. So you need to have a guy constantly running back and forth to the main ammo dump over there, feeding all of the machine guns in the area. So you would just basically carry heavy things back and forth. And when you're transporting the gun, one guy would put this over his shoulder, one guy would put the tripod over his shoulders like this with 2 legs, and then everyone else would just be carrying as much ammo as they possibly could. Throw it. I'm not going to lay down so I don't get up, but you could throw it from the prone position as well. So that is training today for that. Magazine, although I will today. You load with the charger clip like this. This has 5 rounds, and you insert it into the top of the rifle like that. This is the 303 cartridge. So this is a blank. It is not a live round.
So the magazine would hold more.
10-round magazine, so 2 of these in. However, this is only a 5-round rifle with an internal magazine. So 2 of these stripper clips, and there would be 3 of each one in a pouch like so. They would sit right on top here. Like so. All right. The rifle's not loaded yet, but it is a bolt-action rifle. So every time I fire a round, I must cock and close the action, chamber a new round, like so. So 10 rounds. I won't be firing 5. Everybody okay? All right. All right. There.
Stayed. British on our one side fled because they've realized we don't want to sit here and just choke on our own lungs. They didn't know they were doing that, but men are sitting there breathing. Next thing they're choking, dying there. If you're going by horse, that's why they didn't really send it to Canada, because by the time the message got across and would have come back, you're looking at the midsummer and we have already way past a sown pad. But this is as simple as it looks. It's either some cotton or some wool waste soaked in a, let's say, a more refined alkaline solution than a jar of your own pee. And it was either some fabric tapes or some lace that was either like this tied around in emergency or integrated into the pad that you would take, tie around your face and nose, breathe through that. Put on and tie around your head. Now, I've not actually tied a knot to illustrate that it says on the envelope, if the seal's not good enough from just tying it back here, come around the front and tie it up the front. I got all these doctors together and said, we need something better than a wet pad, and we need it 3 weeks ago. What do you got? Got McPherson? Came up with this. The answer is yes, this is going where you're thinking. And I might use you as my volunteer. You can say no. I'd be heartbroken if you did, but you can. So, Captain McPherson developed what is effectively a soaked sack. This is actually a really ingenious idea because it covers the whole of your head, not just your face. You would tuck this into the collar of your jacket. You would draw the air in through this hood soaked in a alkaline hyposulfite solution, and that would protect you against the chlorine gas. And then you would just breathe back out. Problem is you're breathing in a wet sack and the air doesn't want to go. This was a lot better than the pads because now, aside from just like drawing a tape around your neck and pulling it tight, you've got a really good seal around your entire head. Waterproof envelope to keep this wet, keep this dry. They worked. You could get, let's say, a good average of 6 hours out of one of these. Some might be a little more wet, some might be a little less. You might be in a hotter environment, you might be in a colder environment. Let's average about 6 hours and hope it's more. On the 15th of July, so less than a month, we've gone from peeing in your handkerchief to getting, well, the second wet wave. The other big change is this exhalation valve, so that ideally you breathe in through the fabric, and I don't know how accurate this is. Hundreds of thousands of these were made between July 15th, 1915 and November 11th, 1918 at the end of the war. Hundreds of thousands because they were that effective. When these were the standard, every man had two. You had your main and you had your backup. You hoped you didn't need a third because there was not a third, unless there was someone beside you who didn't need theirs. Around your head, this is so that it can hang down here at the ready, and then when you need it, on it goes. Plus this strap for tightening around your neck. This is actually much more similar to either of the hoods because this is chemical soaked fabric, and because of all the tapes and how tightly you tie it, it seals pretty well. And of course, two eyepieces. This combines everything we've learned up to this point into one rather small package, especially when it's in a haversack.
Activated charcoal in
Yes, we learned that from the Russians, that activated charcoal is very, very good at protecting against the mustard gas. So we filled this filter with, well, not all charcoal. We filled it, I think, about 65% of the way was the average because we just couldn't get enough charcoal. And then the rest of the filter was filled with not so much additives, but alternatives that they worked. Maybe not as well, but by the time the air has gone through the charcoal and made it to these additives, it's been diluted or purified enough that the additives will take care of the rest and give you clean air to breathe. How does that work? Well, the air comes in the bottom that you draw in kind of through the bag, up through the filter, it's clean, come up through this tube, corrugated to help give it structure and rigidity, into our mouthpiece, like so. And you breathe it in, and you have your nose piece here so that you're not breathing in and out in the mask and you're not clogging up the mask. Then when you breathe out, it comes back through the mouthpiece down to this little flapper valve. Now, some of you might have heard this already. Does anyone know what color the original valves were? The original valves are pink, a nice bright pink. The haversack itself, unlike any of the rest that just sling across your body or get stuck in the pocket, this, when it's tied up, hangs right about here. And you have it open at the alert. So, when you hear this, you know that means gas because nothing else on the battlefield is going to make that sound. You can reach in, pull out your mask, put it on, check the seal. You were trained to do that in 5 seconds. So, what else has gotten better over the hoods? Well, it's now just a face piece. You are now sealing around your face, which means anyone with a beard, that counts. Yep, you're dead. You, sir, you might get away with it. Yes, this is where the clean-shaven soldier came from. This right here is why soldiers nowadays are, maybe not here, but other parts of the world, they are clean-shaven, so they do not break the seal on your gas mask. Because if they break the seal, well, what's the point? You might as well take it off, throw it away. The point of this was you knew that when you heard this, that meant gas, and that's the only thing that could mean, because there was nothing else on our side during the war that sounded like this, and that was on purpose.
I asked because about these two. I was like, is the only difference that they figured out that they should have 5 rounds? Because this one only holds 3. It's a 3-round on block. This one's 5 rounds. And yeah, by 1915, they were like, well, we should probably have 5 rounds.